Welcome back to Saints and Sinners, the podcast where legends get muddy, halos get dented, and nothing is ever as innocent as it first sounds. If you're new here, remember this isn't your bedtime saint story. It's raw, it's real, and it's of course religious. But every once in a while, you stumble across a tale so wild, so primal, you can't help but lean in and ask, is that really how it happened? Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay with us. Today's tale begins like many bad decisions, just after dark. Somewhere between confidence and hunger, with a man wandering into a place he absolutely should not be. Now, if you're thinking of a certain late 90s cinematic masterpiece involving smooth-talking brothers, slick hair gel, and a questionable understanding of personal space, well, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, hold that thought. Because our man does step out into the night. He is looking for something. And yes, he does end up tangling with someone way out of his league. But the venue he walks into? Not exactly velvet ropes and neon lights. More like trees. Lots of them. Pressed so tightly together, you'd think they were forming their own security line. This is Saints and Sinners. The army was starving. Not metaphorically, literally. Gaunt faces, hollow eyes, some so weak they could barely hold a blade. They hadn't eaten meat in weeks, or bread in days, and morale was bleeding out faster than any wounded man on the field. But still, they pressed on, half dead, half delirious, fueled by prayers and sheer madness. One man couldn't take it. Not the hunger. He could handle that, as he would ensure his men ate before him. But the hopelessness in his men's eyes? That was unacceptable. So he did something foolish, brave, reckless, holy. He picked up his sword and slipped away into the woods. Alone. Now this man, he wasn't some hardened mercenary chasing glory. He was a noble and a general, and a man of principle. A man whose conscience burned hotter than his temper. And when he made a vow, God help anyone who stood in the way of it, even if that anyone had claws. The forest was thick with silence. That eerie, ancient silence where even the birds know to shut up. Every crack of a twig sounded like judgment. Every shadow looked like it had teeth. And then it happened. A scream. Not a noble call for help. No heroic, stand fast! Just a guttural, terrified, blood-curdling wail. The kind you only make when you know you're about to die. And our man? He ran towards it. No hesitation, just instinct. And that's when he saw it. A peasant, barefoot and panicked, bolting through the underbrush like a rabbit. Behind him, a wall of fur and rage. A bear. A massive one. The kind of beast that makes grown men cry for their mothers. He could have turned back. He could have hidden. But something in him refused. So he did what only a madman or a saint would do. He roared. The bear stopped, turned, and locked eyes with him. And then it charged. What followed was less a fight and more like playing with a rag doll. Steel clanged against sinew. Paws big as shields tore through the air. He landed a slash, deep and ugly. But it wasn't enough. The beast rammed him. His sword clattered, bones cracked. He crawled to his sword and got to his feet. The bear was already on its hind legs with a big swipe of its paw coming down. He braced for impact and was tossed against a tree. He manages to get to his knees as the bear comes down upon him again, teeth glinting in the dim light of the forest, coming ever so close to his face. And then, silence. Pinned, bleeding, one hand broken, the other scrabbling in the dirt for his blade. He could feel the bear's breath, hot and foul on his face. Then, God knows how, his fingers found the hilt. He drove the sword upward and deep into the belly of the beast. The bear buckled, twitched, and died. And so did the silence. Rustling in the leaves, fever pitched ringing in his ears. He's stuck and in excruciating pain. No matter what happens next, he's a dead man. Either from the crushing weight of the bear, the sheer loss of blood, or from whatever is lurking around in those woods coming closer. Unable to move, he utters a prayer for salvation. His men found him half dead, covered in blood, his and the bear's. They carried him back to camp, cooked the beast, and for the first time in days, the army feasted, not just on meat, but on hope. The story spread like wildfire. The man who fought a bear, alone, for them. They said he was mad. Others said he was blessed. But nobody doubted this. He was born to lead. The man's name? Godfrey. Godfrey of Bouillon, the man who would go on to lead the First Crusade, who would storm the gates of Jerusalem, and who refused to be crowned king, saying, I will not wear a crown of gold where my Savior wore a crown of thorns. Instead, he took a different title, Defender of the Holy Sepulchre. But before all that, before the victories and the veneration, there was a bear, a forest, and a choice. Because leadership isn't proven in speeches. It's proven in the woods when no one is watching, and your only rewards are claw marks and scars. So the next time someone tells you you're not ready, remember this. Virtue isn't handed to you fully formed. It's planted in faith, watered by discipline, and strengthened by the storms you never asked for. And the test? It doesn't wait for your permission. It shows up unannounced. In the woods, in the silence, in the moment no one is watching and no applause is coming. And in that moment, you won't answer with promises or piety. You'll answer with habit, with formation, with the person you've trained yourself to become. Because real character isn't revealed when the crowd is cheering. It's revealed when you're exhausted, wounded, and the easy way out appears to be what will save you. That's where virtue stands, or collapses. That's where the line holds, or buckles. In the end, the only distance between who you are and the saint God is calling you to be is the price you're willing to pay to remain faithful when it costs you blood, sweat, and fear. And just let it be known that Godfrey of Bouillon is not a saint. He's just a man with intense virtue, which is why we're talking about him. St. Cyril of Alexandria said, once a man has been found worthy of Christ's peace, he can easily save his soul and guide his mind to carry out the exacting demands of virtue. And as Godfrey showed us, sometimes the exacting demands of virtue show up growling. Leave a comment or review, hit like and subscribe, and join us next time as we uncover more stories where the sacred meets the scarred. Until then, keep your sword sharp, your vows sacred, and your integrity without question. Because saints rise, sinners fall, and history bears witness.